Happy Sunday, everyone! Welcome to another episode of Moni and I. We are in episode number 17, I think. Ha! Isn't that amazing? And today we talk about Dubsado for a second time. I talked about it last week already for almost an hour, but as you can probably see, or as you could see last week, it's just amazing what it can do, and it's so much that it can do that it's just necessary to split it up in two parts. That's why I tried to cover most of the basics last week, and this week, in order to fit the theme of April even more, which is called Automation April in case you don't know, I'm talking about Dubsado for the second time, and we will discuss workflows. Because as I mentioned in my post, where workflows love grows. Sorry. I'm sorry I look a tiny bit destroyed today, but that's what happens when you actually socialize with people. In case you don't know who I am, I'm Moni. I'm the really geeky person in charge at monirocks.com. I do web and graphics and web design and graphic design and all the crazy tech stuff. And I'm your host at this weird series we were watching, or you are watching today. So one thing I wanted to mention, but it completely slipped my mind. That's why. Oh, if you're watching the replay, thanks for doing so. And you can ask any questions in the comments below if you can't follow anything or want to know more. My pleasure. I will come back and answer every single thing. But as I mentioned just 2 seconds ago, we will talk about Dubsado today. A second time. That's why it's called Automation April Dubsado Part 2. And I will just quickly introduce you to packages, canned emails, and then we go right into the workflows, just because you need the other things too a bit so you can really connect it all together in your workflow thingy then. So I'm absolutely not hungover. We just went to a coffee shop and we had Indian food. I am probably just hungover from the Indian food, which was amazing. So anyway, let's hop right into Dubsado. And in case you don't remember, that's what it actually looks like here. So once you're logged in, you have all the 3 brands, you most likely only will have one brand, but since I am in the Forever plan, I have more than one. And my test brand is the one that we created last week. It's a Moni Rocks Your Socks one. It was called Moni Rocks My Socks. I just renamed it before. So that's what it actually looks like. And then you see on the left hand side there are the different areas that you can actually have a look at. So I talked about leads last week, and we discussed jobs. The bookkeeping I showed you, calendar is obvious. Form list is just something when people actually filled out a form within Dubsado. There you can see all of them and what happened to them. Tasks I covered, address book I did cover, and time tracker, which is all pretty self-explanatory. But now we dive a bit deeper into the templates thing. So I introduced you to the forums the last time. So actually, if you've said everything, I will switch to my other account in a second. But that's where you set up all the forms before you start connecting everything with your workflows. Because what you can actually do, and I will just quickly show you on my page, is sorry, I just had to look down because I have a visitor and now he's leaving me again. So as you see here, that's where you can I'm totally just, the dog just distracted me. So as I mentioned, you can create lead capture forms that you can embed in your website. That's, for example, what it looks like on my page. And from there you can either just collect leads, or, and that's the awesome thing, you can even make people book you right away through whatever it is that they're choosing here, and that's where all the workflows come in. So going back to Dubsado, we need all the forms set up before, but in order to make it reasonable, you have to create your packages first. And that just means, I assume you see a small, oh, he's leaving me again. Whatever. So you click on packages, and that's where you can add all your offers. So you can click on add package, give it a name. For example, if you offer virtual assistants, you can say virtual assistants as the name of the thing. Then you can add a new line item, then say it's virtual assistants. Yes, I speak two languages. And enter maybe a description. I often write working period from to, so I put in the date, let's say April 8th until, it's a future invoice, April 21st, for example. You want to, that's what you can add later on. But for example, you can write there working period and leave it blank. And then you can say 5 hours per 40 euros. And to make it more, and add this item here. And just to make it more clear what kind of package it is, because you probably will have different packages, you can say that's the 5-hour package, so that you know what kind of package you are adding. And then you have to click on save exit. And that's how you can just populate, like you can edit, you can pre-enter all your packages. If you, for example, do social media strategy, you can have a social media strategy package light, where you can then add everything that you offer. Let's just quickly hop over to one of my other accounts, because then I can show you, for example, what that looks like on my end. So I'm going to packages, and there you can see I have all my packages lined up here. So I have the 5-hour package, I have the 10-hour package, 15-hour package, then all my graphic design packages, like the freebie package, the subsequent freebie, wherever they're made in. So I have all the 24 things that I'm offering. And then if you set all that up before, so let's just have a quick look at, for example, the graphics bundle right here. It will, everything, all the description, it will show up with these bullet points. And yeah, that's, if you set those up front, it will make it easier for you to then connect everything once you create, for example, the proposal, and then connect everything with the workflow. So let's just go to the forms, because then I can show you how this is working on my end. So the quick, so the workflow as it would go is people sign up through your contact form or through your lead capture form on your website. They will tell you, for example, as they do right here, I want a proposal for the following services. So they came to your website, they see, they're interested in your services, and then, for example, they can go here on my page, and they can select, I'm interested, I want a proposal for web design services, I want a proposal for graphic design services, I want a proposal for virtual assistant services, and whatever else that it is I do offer. So for example, that's where people visit you first, then they fill out the form, And once they fill out the form and send the form to you, then my workflow starts, and the people will automatically get an email where it says, thank you for being interested in my services. This is your proposal, and then people can open the proposal, and then they can immediately pay or book me, for example. So I will just quickly go back to here, where I created the different kinds of proposals. For example, let's have a look at the graphic design proposal that I have showed you. So that's where you can click on edit here. And I started to add all the things that I have here. And then you can, if you, for example, want to add your packages into the proposal, you can click on package right here, and then drag it over. And if you click on it, then you can select the package that will be selected and will be auto-populated when the people get your proposal. So for example, this is my proposal for freebie creation. So I'm looking for the package that I added before, and choose that one. Then you can change the appearance here. For example, this is a button that people can click, or people can also, if you click on smart fields, click on packages, they can have, for example, a small checkbox. You see how that looks here. Or you can have people select your things with a large checkbox, for example. Or you can have people, as if you see as you can see here, man, speaking is difficult today. For example, add in everything with the descriptions. That's what you entered in your packages. That's how it will be displayed then. Or you can give it make it look like this. So everything, I'm just removing this here. So you will see that's the freebie design, that's the description, that's how much it is, and that's the total. As it would look on an invoice, for example. That's what the variable here does. For example, the package items, which is called items, names, and amounts, for example. Or you can just add the total, so how much the package is. So you can have free reign and free rule about how you want this to look. If you, for example, only send out a proposal, if you've talked with a person, you've been on a discovery call with a person, and you want to send them your offers, and you already talked about something really specific, you can just simply send them a proposal where this package is already pre-selected. Then you can simply remove the button, for example, enter checkbox, and it will auto-populate just this package that you have already pre-selected, for example. So you can create it as you want it, as it's as you see fit for your proposal. I did it like that. I've showed you that the other time, last week already. And considering that you don't want to work or that you don't want to put more work into it as necessary, you can immediately set up your proposal that it will automatically show your contract there. So that's why I have also all the different contracts set up. So depending on what kind of proposal people are interested in, they would automatically get the proposal with the fitting contract. And if you click on show invoice right there, then people will immediately have this 3 tabs situation happening that I've showed you the last time. I will just quickly go to leads here and show you the one I created. No, that's not the one. Sorry. Let's click on test user, because I do have a test user. I will just quickly add my proposal here. Proposal. Let's choose that one. I add this one. You don't have to do that manually once you've added it. let me open this. So that's how people, your clients would be able to see this. They have a proposal here where they can select, for example, I want this and this and this. And then they click submit at the bottom. I can't do that now because I'm logged in. Then they will be able to click, go to the contracts. They will have the contract right there, and they have to sign the contract, obviously, down at the bottom. One signature for your client and one from you. And then once they've signed the contract, they can immediately pay the invoice there. So that's pretty neat for you if people go to a website, fill out your form, get the proposal, automatically get the contract, automatically get the email, and you don't have to move a finger to make that happen. But in order to so that people even get your lead capture form, a small workflow needs to be in place. So once you've set up all your forms, you've set up your packages, you created your lead capture form. So let's go back to the forms. You have your lead capture form in place, you have the proposals in place, you have your contracts in place, and then we can connect everything. You've set up all your packages too, of course, because otherwise you wouldn't have been able to create your proposals. But once you've done that, we go to templates and workflows. Because then, as you see here, I have a few workflows happening. A few are old ones that I'm not using anymore. But I go to graphic design, for example, or let's create a new one. Maybe that's easier than test flow. It doesn't matter what you call it. It just needs to be something that you can remember. Payment schedule, we can leave that out for now, but then we can, once we've created the test flow, we can click on add action, and that's where the magic happens. So you can then say, for example, send an email. If you don't want to add a contract, if you don't want to add a proposal, if you just want to send an email to people, you can just simply say send an email, but after what? So you can say so 0 days after is equivalent to immediately, and you can say after workflow started, before the job start date, after job start date, before job date ends. So there are a few variables that you can use. So for example, after contract is signed, your clients will get an email that says, thanks for signing my contract, you're amazing, welcome to my business, for example. Or after invoice is paid in full, you can set up a workflow that automatically sends out an email after the invoice is paid in full. But the thing we want to do now is actually send people a form, because when people sign up through your lead capture form, you want to send them your proposal, and the proposal is actually a form within Dubsado. So that's why we use send the form. Then you want to send the form immediately. You can call it after all previous actions, or let's say after workflow started, for example. Or no, let's say after all previous actions are complete. Then you can say send email and apply to the portal. So you can only send an email and so you can only apply the form to the portal. You can do both. You can send an email and apply to the portal, and you can only apply to the job. But what I always do is, because that makes more sense in that context right now, send an email and apply the form to the portal. So you can then select the form that you want to send to people. The first email that we want to send them, and the first thing is their proposal. So I'm just typing in proposal. It's caps lock week today. So let's use the graphic design one. So we've selected that one. And then you can select an email to send. Or you can either just start and type your email right here. So thanks for being interested. And then, yes, I can totally do that for you. It is probably a bit confusing when you just watch me do, but you can, if you start working on it, or sign up for my one-on-one tech training, then I can walk you through it in more detail. But as I mentioned, you can say, you can start writing your email right here. What you always want to have in the email when you send out forms is that variable that's forms /form link. If you by accident deleted that one, you can always click on Smart Fields, and then I just have to remove, where is it? Link, exactly, and then it's form link. That's the one. If you, for example, were too motivated and say, I am going to start the email from scratch, and then you've lost your variable, it's always there. You can click on Smart, Field Link, and add form link again. So you can then, so that's if you send them the proposal, you have to make sure that this is in your workflow, in the email, because otherwise people will not be able to click the portal link. I'll click the proposal link because they want to actually access your proposal. What I did up front is I created, let me just quickly cancel that workflow. I created canned emails. So you can go there, create canned emails, and then you create them once, and then you can use them for more workflows, because as you saw, I have quite a few workflows happening. And it's just, I don't want to write the email over and over and over again. So that's why I created the canned emails. Then I only have to, when I'm in the workflow, this is the test flow. Let me just do that again right here. Click on next step, add action, choose the send form because I want to send a proposal. Choose my proposal, graphic design proposal, and then I click on select canned response, and that's where I have my sending proposals, for example. The only thing I then have to change is send a proposal for graphic design, and then that's where my email is happening. So hi client first name, because I'm on a first name basis with everyone. And thank you for expressing interest in my services, blah, 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 blah. Feel free to choose whatever package you see fit. So I don't have to write that over and over and over again. It's just I choose this canned email, change the subject line, click on apply. And then I can add another action, for example. So I can say, so people then got the email with my graphic design proposal. If they then, for example, after sign my contract, I want to send them, I want to, for example, create myself a to-do where I say, check forms, which I would then be able to see at the dashboard of my of Dubsado. So once you log in, the first thing you see is the dashboard. On the right left hand side and the bottom left side, there is the area with the to-dos. That's where I would automatically a to-do would be created for me after the contract is signed by the client. Then, for example, after the contract is signed by the client, I want to send them another form, which is my onboarding form, because I welcome people to my business, and they get a separate form where I say, yay, that's so awesome that we work together, and I give them a few details about when I work, how they can reach me, where they can access their client portal, and all these important things. And I want these to go out after, for example, they paid my invoice in full. Because once they've paid my invoice in full, they are definitely my clients. It can eventually happen that they signed the contract, but then they don't pay your invoice. But you want to only send out the onboarding form, for example, once the invoice is really paid. So that's also a trigger that you can add here. And same thing right here, I created the client, I created the canned response before, where I am going to send them the onboarding form. Do I have a new one? Yeah, for example, I am saying hi, or no, that's the, which one is it? Yeah, so I am sending a thank you for trusting in my services. That's where you can that's where you can access the onboarding form. That's where the client portal is. And then they, of course, have a jumpy GIF because GIFs all the way. And I tell them don't hesitate to reach out to me. So I can apply that too. I just have to add the form, of course, here too. Onboarding form, onboarding process. And then you can save it here and apply. So as you can see here, once it's the workflow starts, people will automatically get the graphic design proposal. I will, once the client signed the contract, I have a to-do within my Dubsado, and after the client paid the invoice in full, they will get my onboarding form. And you can go crazy with these workflows there. I mean, there is so much possible here. So you can automatically activate the portal, for example. Because that's deactivated if you don't do it manually. But you can automatically activate the client portal that people can access afterwards. Or you can say pause it until something else is happening. Or pause the workflow in general and you have to activate it again. Or you can deactivate the portal, so maybe after the client, I don't know. I can't think of a reason why I would deactivate the portal after I've activated it or something. But the workflows, you can go crazy with those. So now that you've set the workflow up, that sounds nice, but how do you get it to work? That's where I go back to the form section and go to my lead capture form, because that's the crazy thing. That looks a bit weird now, or different than before, just because I added a CSS code block that makes the buttons look more like, or that gives it more my website page design. So, and I'm more of a square person and not rounded borders. So that's why I wanted the forms to be, as you know, not rounded borders. So, what you can do if you want to trigger workflows, depending on what people chose in their lead capture form, you need the function or the element is a nice word, that's called workflow, which is kind of self-explanatory, and you drag it over here, and then you just click on it, and you can choose the question, and then you can give the different options. So for example, you can say graphic design or social media strategy, which I don't do. You have to go to Thankful Cow Solutions if you want to see that. That GIF was is it GIF or is it GIF? I never know. Anyway, so you can see here, considering what options they choose, you can apply a workflow to that. So if they choose graphic design, they have to go to the graphic design flow. Or if they choose social media strategy, I of course haven't set that up because I'm not offering that. But let's choose the test flow, for example. So you can decide what workflow people go through, considering what they chose here. But also, if people don't choose anything in that drop-down box, you can click on the settings part, and that's where if you scroll down a bit, you can attach a default workflow. So this default workflow will be overwritten when someone made a choice where you gave them one. If they don't choose there, then that's where the default workflow hits in. So if someone doesn't want to book with me right away, I also added something where it says, no, that's in the other part, in the one that I've embedded, because I now switched to euros, and I'm in the dollar thing. So I said I don't want to book you right away. We can go here. Oh no, where is it there? For example, where is it? I'm not interested to book just yet, let's talk. And then people will automatically get just an email from me where it says, thanks for being interested in my services. You can book a link with you can book me through my Calendly link, for example. I can show you that in a second in my canned emails. So I can say, thanks for reaching out to me. And here you can book and let's have a chat. And of course I have a Yoshi GIF happening. Yeah, so that's where you can connect it all directly in the forms area. So you have to connect the workflows to your lead capture form. You have to create the workflows first in order to have it flowing without you actually having to do anything with it. What you can also always do is, if you have leads or if you already have jobs and you in your Dubsado backend, let's go to the my test thing, for example, you can always add the workflows manually too. So for example, what I did when I started out with Dubsado was I added my contract manually to a job, and then I send it to the people through the flow, through the forms section of Dubsado. So for example, I have the contract here, and I can say send, and then it will automatically open up this email function where you can say the contract has been prepared for you, please click on the link below, or whatever you want it to say. So there's also, you can also choose this, the canned responses here within this, wherever you click send, you can always choose the canned responses. Or for example, if you're in the form section, you want to send a proposal, you can do it as I just did it before. Let's just delete that one, and let's delete that contract. So you can go here, you can add a new form. You can say, I want to send this proposal manually, because not everybody wants not everybody will go through your flow automatically, but you will have a talk with people, and then you say, I can send you my proposal, and that's how you can do it in a lead or in a job. You go to your lead or your job, or you create one, and then you go to forms, you add your proposal. Let's say I'm adding my graphic design proposal. You can click on add, and considering how you set it up, it will automatically add the contract to it that is attached to that proposal. As you can see, it just takes a bit to actually happen. As you see here, it says need sending. That's how you know it didn't go out already. And then you, for example, you can click send here too, and then you will again get this email. Or if you don't click send here, you can click send here, and you will also get to send out this to this email area. So that's something you can always also do manually. You don't always have to set up workflows if it's too confusing. And if you want, but on the other hand, if you still want the people to be able to receive the onboarding form and you do not want to have it have to add it manually, you can go to workflows, and then you can apply excuse me, you can apply the workflow manually too. For example, I click on graphic design flow, and then I can click on apply, and depending on what you chose in your workflow, because if you remember, it said once applied to something. Let's go to the test form. So for example, once after workflow started, so that's something you can choose if you add the workflow manually, for example. But yeah, that's how you could also do it manually. So you can manually add the forms, and you can also manually attach the workflows. Or if you have really complex, because I know there are, for example, photographers or other designers that want to send out questionnaires, for example. That's everything that you can set up within the workflows too. So if you're streamlined in your own business processes, you can always translate it to the workflows within Dubsado to move less of a finger. So yeah, how could you say no to that face? To my Indian food face? Anyway, so I think that was probably it. I know that this part is eventually a bit more confusing than the previous stream I did, but I'm sure that you can eventually figure it out. And if you don't, you can drop me a message, because I offer this one-on-one tech service where we will talk about everything that you need, and where I will teach you everything that you need to know in 19 minutes for $150 or I think 120 euros. So you can drop me a message and we can book one of those, or you hire me to do this for you, which is not a problem. Then hit me up and send me a message too. And if you want to be informed about what's going on every weekend, every Sunday, I think we stick to Sunday because it's nice, you can join my email list if you go to monirocksyoursocks.com/join, or I have a few. If you want to talk to Yoshi, monirocksyoursocks.com/Yoshi. That's him actually going crazy. I'm not sure if you see that. Can I maybe? No, wrong direction. Oh, that was a quick one. Sometimes he just goes a bit bonkers in his igloo there. Anyway, so if you want to keep up to date, I dropped the links. And see you next week, where we will be talking about Zapier. And I'll promise you this will make your life also a hell lot easier if you have Zapier in your life and in your business. And yeah, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but I'm Austrian, I can. So have a great rest of your Sunday. I hope it's a fabulous one. I hope you have sunshine too, because we have good weather now. Anyway, see you next week. Sign up for my newsletter or send me a message if you need help with anything. See you and goodbye.